Remember when Halloween meant homemade costumes, pillowcases full of candy, and racing home to catch one special on TV before your parents made you go to bed? It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown wasn't just another cartoon. It was the first time Halloween became appointment television. We're counting down 10 wild facts that prove this 25-minute masterpiece was more revolutionary than you ever realized.
No problems. It is usually because you have no outlets. Blah! My lips touch dog lips!
Number 10. It premiered in Canada first. Wait, what? The most American Halloween special ever made, complete with trick-or-treating, costume parties, and pumpkin patches, debuted north of the border first. On October 26, 1966, CBC Television aired it, before CBS got their hands on it the very next day, October 27th. That's right, Canadian kids saw Linus waiting in that pumpkin patch a full 24 hours before American audiences did. In an era when US networks treated their content like Fort Knox gold and wouldn't even share outtakes with their own affiliates, letting Canada premiere a Peanut special was basically unheard of. Makes you wonder if the Great Pumpkin is actually Canadian, eh? Maybe he travels south for Halloween.
I got a quarter. I got a rock.
Number 9. Kids sent Charlie Brown actual candy. Here's where it gets adorable, and you might feel something in your cold, jaded heart. After the special first aired, children all over the country sent candy to Charlie Brown out of sympathy. No joke. Mailrooms at CBS and the animation studio were flooded with Snickers, Milky Ways, candy corn, and probably a few questionable homemade popcorn balls that would terrify modern parents. Kids felt so bad seeing Chuck get rocks in his trick-or-treat bag that they raided their own precious Halloween stash to help him out. This wasn't just fan mail with misspelled compliments. It was a full-blown sympathy campaign organized by second graders. If that doesn't prove the emotional power of Charles Schulz's storytelling, nothing will. Number 8. It invented the Halloween TV special. Before 1966, Halloween on television was basically non-existent, just occasional sitcom episodes where characters wore store-bought costumes for 30 seconds. The Great Pumpkin defined a new genre, as it was the first major Halloween special to broadcast on television, period. Schulz and producer Lee Mendelson took a massive gamble that kids would tune in for a contemplative autumn story instead of cowboy reruns. And they absolutely crushed it. The ratings proved that October wasn't just a dead zone between summer and Christmas. It was prime real estate. Every Halloween special you've ever watched, from Rugrats to The Simpsons to whatever Netflix is churning out, owes its existence to Linus sitting in that pumpkin patch, believing in something invisible. Number 7. The music was recorded in one day. October 4th, 1966. Mark that date in your mental calendar. That's when Vince Guaraldi and his sextet walked into Desilu's Gower Street studio in Hollywood, the same studio where I Love Lucy was filmed, and recorded the entire score in a single marathon session. The same walls that once echoed with Lucille Ball's comedic genius now became the birthplace of one of the most iconic soundtracks in animation history. Those haunting piano riffs you associate with autumn, with falling leaves and crisp October air, created in one 8-hour workday by a jazz virtuoso who made it sound absolutely effortless. Guaraldi didn't just compose music, he bottled the feeling of Halloween itself.
Oh, you didn't tell me you were gonna kill it.
Number 6. It earned 2 Emmy nominations. At the 19th Primetime Emmy Awards in 1967, the special was nominated for Outstanding Children's Program and Special Classifications of Individual Achievements, 2 major categories that put it in direct competition with big-budget network productions. Not bad for a cartoon about a kid talking to vegetables and waiting for a mythical gourd deity. While it didn't take home the gold that night, the Academy went with safer choices. The nominations proved that critics saw what audiences already knew in their bones. This wasn't just kiddie entertainment to keep children quiet for 25 minutes. It was legitimate art, wrapped in cell animation and jazz piano, tackling themes of faith, disappointment, and resilience. The Academy recognized that Schultz had elevated the entire medium, giving animated specials the same respect and critical consideration as live-action programming.
Hey, have you come to sing pumpkin carols?
Number 5. Apple hijacked it in 2020. For 54 consecutive years, half a century, It's The Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown aired on broadcast television every October without fail, becoming as reliable as autumn leaves and pumpkin spice. Then 2020 happened, and Apple TV Plus swooped in like Lucy pulling the football away from Charlie Brown at the last second. It became an Apple TV Plus exclusive, ending over half a century of free, over-the-air tradition in one corporate decision. A beloved public ritual, something that belonged to everyone regardless of income, became a streaming bargaining chip, an exclusive content bullet point. The Great Pumpkin would be ashamed.
A person should always choose a costume which is in direct contrast.
Unlike some holiday specials that exist in narrative limbo, looking at you, Frosty the Snowman, this one is pure, undiluted Peanuts canon that fits seamlessly into the comic strip mythology. Charlie Brown, Lucy Van Pelt, Linus, Sally, and Snoopy all appear exactly as Schultz drew them in the daily strips, with the same personalities and character quirks. The Great Pumpkin mythology that Linus introduces here, it shows up in later comic strips, books, and specials, cementing it as official lore rather than a one-off gag. Schultz wasn't just making a throwaway TV movie to cash a network check. He was world-building, adding permanent mythology to his universe. The pumpkin patch became as essential to Peanuts canon as Snoopy's doghouse, Lucy's psychiatric booth, or Schroeder's toy piano. Linus waiting for presents from a mystical gourd is now Peanuts history, referenced and revisited across decades. When a creator takes his holiday special seriously enough to make it canon, you know he's playing the long game.
He's a World War I flying ace. Now I've heard everything.
Number 3. It's only 25 minutes long. That's it. 25 minutes, barely longer than one episode of The Office. Somehow, in less time than a sitcom episode or your average commute, this special became a cultural cornerstone that's endured for nearly 6 decades. No bloat, no filler, no unnecessary subplots about Peppermint Patty's identity crisis. Just tight storytelling that hits every emotional beat with surgical precision. You get heartbreak when Sally misses trick-or-treating because she trusted her brother. Hope when Linus believes despite relentless mockery from everyone around him. And crushing disappointment when he realizes he's been fooled by his own faith again. Then Schultz wraps it with just enough warmth to send you home happy but thoughtful. Modern streaming would have stretched this into a 40-minute slog with mandated subplots about Woodstock's existential crisis and Snoopy's backstory.
And over to Vilas for the big Halloween party.
Number 2. It's always been rated TVG. The special carries a TVG certificate, meaning it's been family safe since day one. No caveats, no asterisks, no acceptable for its time disclaimers. No edgy content that seemed funny then but aged like milk in the sun. No questionable jokes that make modern viewers cringe. Just pure, wholesome storytelling that works for any generation. Schultz never talked down to children like they were miniature idiots who needed everything dumbed down, but he never felt the need to shock them with inappropriate humor either. He trusted that sincerity and humor could coexist in the same frame without gimmicks or edge. Watching it now, you realize how rare and precious that approach has become. Wholesomeness without condescension, sentiment without manipulation. It's a lost art form.
Don't talk like that. The Great Pumpkin knows which kids have been good and which kids have been bad.
Number 1. Linus actually believes in the Great Pumpkin. Here's the fact that makes the whole special work. The beating heart underneath everything else. Linus waits in the pumpkin patch, believing the great pumpkin will bring presents to all the good children in the world. Not as a joke, not as a bit to get attention, not because he's mentally unstable. He genuinely, sincerely, passionately believes, even when everyone, Lucy, Charlie Brown, Sally, literally everyone, mocks him relentlessly. That's the heart of the story that makes adults cry. Faith in the face of ridicule. Hope despite repeated disappointment. Belief when the entire world tells you you're wrong and stupid. Schultz understood something profound that most writers miss. Childhood isn't about being right or having all the answers. It's about having the courage to believe in something bigger than yourself, even when belief makes you vulnerable.
A young man these days has to practice a lot, doesn't he?
Bonus fact: the broadcast history is legendary. Over its lifetime, the special has been broadcast on CBC, CBS, and later ABC, before landing at Apple TV+. A journey that spans decades and reflects the entire evolution of American television. It's been rebroadcast, syndicated, recorded on VHS by parents with shaky hands, burned to DVDs, and immortalized across 4 generations of living rooms. Few pieces of media can claim such enduring presence in American homes year after year. It survived network changes, format shifts from standard to HD, cultural upheavals, and the death of appointment television, because it tapped into something genuinely timeless. Every October, it came back like clockwork. Or at least it did until streaming changed the rules and turned nostalgia into a commodity. But whether you watch it on CBS, ABC, or Apple with varying degrees of frustration, the magic hasn't faded one bit. That's the real test of a classic. Does it survive its own distribution? This one does. It's The Great Pumpkin. Charlie Brown was more than just a cartoon for kids to watch while parents made dinner. It was a cultural revolution wrapped in autumn leaves, jazz piano, and the sincere belief that animation could be art. We've got more nostalgic deep dives coming your way every week. Until then, keep believing in your own Great Pumpkin, whatever form it takes.